right, guys. Did you guys have a good weekend? Yes. Where are you going, Joe? All right. So last week you guys finished up reading your chapters, but we didn't get to answer our questions, right? Yeah, but we're actually going to do our questions on our worksheet first, okay? So, can anybody tell me one fun thing they did this weekend? What did you do, Sierra? Nothing too fun?
I did.
Joe, can you take a seat for me?
How are you?
That sounds fun. All right. Anybody else? That sounds fun. All right, guys. Can we open up our worksheet? We are going to finish our questions, okay? So open up to the pages where we're talking about Mr. Grimes and Francis. Yep. We're doing chapters 13 through 16. Are we ready? All right, guys. So last week you read 13 through 16. We're going to answer the questions, and then if we have time, we're going to go on to reading. So let's look at our first question. Maybe. All right. So it says, what do Mr. Grimes and Francis do on their 3-day visit with the Spot Johnny? Who remembers? I know that we didn't read this since last Friday, so we need a little refresher, right? I think you're standing right in front of the camera.
Me?
All right, guys.
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't know there was a camera there.
All right. So let's think about it. When we read last week, what did Mr. Grimes and Francis do on their 3-day visit? What's one thing? Do you remember, Sierra? What? Yeah, that's one. They had a wrestling match, right? So they had a wrestling match. What else did they do? Bless you. I know it's Monday and I know it's hard to think, but let's really put on our thinking caps and think hard. What else happened, Brody?
They stayed there.
They stayed there, but what else did they do? What fun things? Did they... Do you remember when they had that big dinner? So they had a grand dinner, right? On their 3-day visit, they got to have a really nice meal. And there's one other thing that they did. Does anybody remember? Well, they slept, but what was something exciting they did? Joe, can you keep your head up for me? Thank you. Do you remember one thing that they did? Dina, turn around, please. Huh? They had a grand dinner, right? There was one.
They also had a joke shoot.
That's exactly right, Joe. Great job. They had joke shooting. Do you guys remember that? Joke shooting. Do you guys remember that happening? You guys are tired this morning, aren't you? I need you guys to answer me. You guys are so smart. You're so good at answering these questions. Can you do it for me?
Thank you.
You're welcome. When you're done writing these down, I want you to put your pencils down so that I know you're done, please. Joe, have you written them down yet? Let's take a look for you. Perfect. Awesome. Still working on that, Brody? guys enjoying this book so far? It's a good book.
The thing, I'll never stop.
Yeah, sometimes it's hard to stop and then you forget what you read. That's what makes it hard about weekends. Maybe we should just assign you reading all weekend.
You'd be awesome. Thank you very much.
Then you can remember the whole time. Should I tell Missy we should do that?
No.
Alright.
Please don't.
If you guys can answer the rest of these questions for me, I won't tell her that, okay? Deal?
Well, what if we don't?
Can we work hard?
What about if we don't?
I bet you guys can though. Let's show me how you
What if we don't answer the
Brody, can you put your pencil down for me?
That's. I don't want homework on the weekend. No. No, I don't want.
Okay guys, let's look at the next question. The mountain man does what he calls the count on the beaver stream. What does this mean? Who can raise their hand? Thank you for raising your hand, Joe.
How many beavers are there are each?
In each pond? Yeah, that's exactly right, Joe. That's awesome. I love how you remember that. Why do they do that though? Do we know why?
So they can keep track.
So they can keep track and they don't trap too many, right?
No.
Alright guys, so the reason we do that, let's look up here please. He counts how many, Dina. Please don't be crabby, that makes me so sad. Please don't be crabby. Okay, well then let's wake up. Alright guys. So again, the reason that they count the beavers is so that they can keep track of how many are in each pond and they don't want to trap too many. Do you know why?
They trap too many.
They have to go get more traps and
And there'll be no more.
there'd be no more beavers. There wouldn't be any more. And you can actually get in a lot of trouble for trapping too many animals. There's actually trap permits, just like your dad hunts a lot, right, Sierra? I'm sure he knows all about the permits. I don't know, I think I'm a psychic, don't you think?
No, I think I'm in.
So we have to be careful about how many animals we trap. Hey, Missy. Where were you?
Lydia, are you here today?
I am here today, but you don't see me. What's happening?
All right, so again, pencils down once you're done writing, please.
And then we go my animal stuff so I can go back to the water.
Exactly, because what do beavers do?
Go back to the
Where?
water. Deep. And keep it definitely
Yeah, what did we talk about? What do beavers do? They build dams, right?
And they can the reason why they don't have is to keep their family.
Oh my gosh.
safe.
To keep them safe, exactly. And so if we took away all the beavers, we would probably have floods because they're not building the dams for us. So it's very important that we understand how many we can trap, right? So like my dad, he's a hunter, and we have books that show us permits and how we can know. Where? Yeah, yeah. Exactly right. Joe, are you done writing? Brody, what about you?
And
Not yet? I think you guys need to run 5 miles just to wake up.
It's not gonna help.
It's not gonna help. It'll wake you right up.
Coffee and that'll wake me up.
That's what I had to do. I was pretty tired this morning, but I just drank some coffee and look at me now.
Give me
Give
a
me
can of coffee.
coffee and I'll definitely wake up, or Mountain Dew. That would definitely make me wake up.
Give me a can of Coke. I'll be awake for the rest of the day.
You give me Mountain Dew, definitely I'll be
Give
awake.
me a can. Give me a Coke and a Coke.
Coffee or
All right,
Mountain Dew and
are
I'll
all of our
definitely be
pencils
awake.
down?
You give me Mountain Dew and coffee. I'll
All right, let's look at question number 3, okay? All right, buck fever. You guys have all had a fever, I'm sure. So who can raise their hand, please? Don't shout it out loud and tell me what buck fever is. What would it be? Let's use our context clues. So we know that we're talking about a buck. And what would buck fever be? Brody?
Cow fever for cows?
Not quite. It's not actually being sick. Let's think about it in a different way, Dina. Not quite. Sierra?
I don't think I did that.
That's a good idea. Right, let's play off of that. So buck fever is actually when you see an animal, like if you're hunting, and you maybe are getting ready to hunt them, but you freeze up. So have you ever heard when people say, oh, I've had a fever for this? They don't mean that they're getting sick. They're really anxious and excited about it. Well, in this sense, they get so excited that they freeze up and they can't even think about it, okay? Have you ever had that happen to me? Like, sometimes maybe you know an answer, and you get so excited that you're going to give us the answer that you forget what you were going to say. Right?
Example, when I say the sentence fast, it'll look to the
Yeah, sometimes you get nervous up here.
It feels like that. It's like ice cream.
Right. So let's write this down. So buck fever, when you see a buck,
Well, when you see something that's bigger than a rabbit.
and you freeze up, short and simple, just like that. When you see a buck, you freeze up. Just like Sierra was giving the example, maybe you're standing in front of the class and you get nervous and you freeze up. So they probably got scared because I saw this big buck that's way bigger than them, and they didn't know what to do. So they just froze.
Is it about like stuttering?
Huh?
Is it kind of like stuttering?
Yeah, like if you get nervous, maybe you don't freeze, you stutter. Everybody handles things differently.
That's what I do. I just stuttering.
That's okay, yeah. And you can like in this case, maybe they should, that's an F. E-E-Z.
F-E-E-Z.
F-R-E.
F-R-E-E-Z.
E-Z. Yep, you're perfect. Got it. And then again, when you're done, please put your pencils down. Joe, did you get that written down? Did you write down what buck fever was? What is this? Okay, we're not done, so let's stay on this page, please. How are you doing, Brody? Great. E. All right, guys. Everybody's pencils down? Brody, I know you're done writing, so please put your pencil down. Thank you. Dina, come back up here. Thank you. All right, let's look at our next question. you know, Brody?
He's afraid of him?
That could be one reason, but it has to do with the weather. Do we remember reading about that? It's getting close to winter.
Farmers old, they could slow him down.
Yep, so the main reason is they might not survive winter. Does that make sense, Dina? Joe, did you get that written down for me? Yep, did you change your answer? Because that first one you had written down probably wasn't the best idea. Perfect. And what are we going to do when we're done?
That's a lie.
Put our pencils down. Thank you, John. Yep. Survive winter. Can you guys believe that we're in the middle of November and we still don't have snow?
Don't see that.
Eat. But yesterday I was able to go on a walk in just a t-shirt. It was so nice out. This time last year we had tons of snow. So I'll take the warm weather while I can get it. What? So, but I'm sure we'll get it pretty soon. Alright, put your pencil down then. We still have a couple more questions to answer. Right here. Alright guys, when you're done, put your pencil down and flip to the next page so we can answer the next few questions. Huh? Look at that. Joe, can you flip to the next page for me? Thank you. Everybody have that written down? Great. What's wrong, Dina? Okay. Well, just stay with me. You'll get to go to lunch soon, okay? Alright, guys. What are the 2 reasons Mr. Grimes gives Francis for not wanting anyone to follow him to the beaver camp? What are 2 reasons? Who can give me one by raising their hand, please? Remembers, Joe. What's one of the reasons? What? Joe?
He doesn't want crows to find them. And
The crows?
And other tribes.
Wow! How do you remember this? I'm really proud of you, Joe. That's great. So, do you guys remember who the crows are? The crows or the Indians? And what did you say the other one was, Joe?
Other trappers.
That's great. Great job. So the crows or the Indians, that's what they call their tribe, or other trappers. Those are the 2 reasons that they're not sure if they want to go. Why do you think it would be inconvenient if they had other trappers there? They would take up all the meat. Exactly, Sierra. Good job. Huh? Exactly. So that's why they're unsure if it's a good idea. What do you think would happen if they ran into the crows? They could maybe get attacked. That wouldn't be very good. Brody, what do you think about that?
What am I saying? What?
What do you think would happen if they ran into the crows?
They would attack all the meat.
They would take it all away. wouldn't be very good because then they'd have worked so hard to get all of that, and then they'd take it all.
That one messes with Indian.
No, that's right, Sarah.
What has studies shown us that messes with Indian? So it's showing you facts.
All right, once you're done, put your pencil down. Are you done, Dina? Joe, did you get yours written down? Joseph? Did you get yours written down? Brody?
Not yet.
Okay. We have one last question left. We will. All right, guys. All good, Brody? Let's look at this last question. Does anybody want to read it? Okay, John.
What does Jim Bridger call Francis when he first meets him?
Great reading. That was awesome, John. Who has the answer to that? Raise your hand, please. Joe, is that you stretching or raising your hand?
Why would I raise both hands?
All right. Do you know the answer?
A cup.
Look at you. Did you study this weekend or something?
John.
Oh, yeah.
You just remember? Good, guys. I'm really glad. So, plain and simple, what does Jim Bridger call Francis when he first sees him?
A cub.
A cub. Do we remember why? Because he's so small and little. What's a cub? What is it? It's a little baby bear. I kind of want one as a pet. Do you think that'd be a good idea?
No,
Yeah.
just make them
Oh,
up and
dangerous.
That'd be probably a little dangerous.
distract you, but you won't.
That's what I
But
like.
they're so cute as babies, aren't they?
Yeah.
Not until they grow up and it's like,
Or it could just give you a big bear hug if they're nice. But I probably agree. Maybe not the best pet.
you think the bird, but we saw birds as pets.
All good, guys? So what we're going to do next, I want you to close your workbooks, please. And we're going to begin reading chapter 17, okay? No, if we can. We'll see how much we can get through. We're going to start with 17 and hope to go to 22. So everybody's pencils down. And let's see if I can turn off this projector for us.
Or,
Hang on. Great. All right, everybody open up to page 127. So we left off reading last Friday. I wasn't here, but I'm pretty sure Miss C read with you. So, is everybody on page 127?
Yes.
Okay. Let me know when you're ready, John. All right, guys. Ready? All right, chapter 17. The week of idle resting that Mr. Grimes had promised Francis never took place. But it wasn't the mountain man's fault. What happened to ruin the week was the sudden arrival of more company. But this time, the company didn't consist of friends of Jason Grimes. They arrived on the third day after all the pelts had been hung to dry. Contrary to what he had thought, Francis didn't sleep even for a day. After 10 hours of solid snoring, he was up gathering wood. And by the second day, he was practically bored stiff. Yep. Don't fret on so much, Mr. Tuckett, the trapper said when Francis began grumbling. A man would think he wanted to go back to work. Rest up a mite. There'll be plenty to do. Francis snorted. I wouldn't even mind some more trapping. It's better than just sitting around and getting soft. Ah, Mr. Tuckett, relax. Trap more beaver, and you just have to sit around for another week. These things take time. So Francis had dreamed up things to do. He made bullets when he hadn't even enough to stand off of a small army. He took to riding around the meadow along the stream, not going anywhere in particular, just riding. And he was riding on the morning of the third day, out along the stream, just angling across it, not paying much attention to what he was doing, when something whistled past his cheek, brushing him slightly, almost like a fly. He reached his hand up, and at the instant, the horse stepped out on the rock and stumbled. The sudden movement saved Francis's life. The second arrow, which would have hit him squarely in the middle of the chest, whirled past and buried itself in the muck of a beaver dam 10 yards upward. Yee! Francis screamed at the same second, fired his rifle in the air. He had two purposes in mind for shooting the rifle. First, it would warn Mr. Grimes. Second, it would get the mare running. So what just happened?
Oh, he fired up in the sky.
He fired up in the sky because he wanted to get attention, because what happened? Somebody tried to shoot him with an arrow, right, Tina? All right, let's keep going. And run she did. Like a little bomb going off beneath Francis, she was out of the stream and at a full gallop in the space of one breath, while he clung to her back like a flea. She ran straight ahead, and luckily she happened to be pointed toward the camp. But unluckily, she also pointed toward the Indians, who were hidden in the brush along the stream between Francis and the camp, and she took him right through the middle of them. Francis hadn't seen the Indians, and suddenly he was 10 feet away from all 5 of them. There were 5 crows painted for war, ready and wanting one thing: to make Francis look like a porcupine.
With arrows.
Arrows whistled by him, and Francis felt through the world had suddenly gone crazy. Painted faces popped up in front of him, screeched, loosed a feather missile, and disappeared. Somebody fired a gun right by his face, and it deafened him. He felt a hand grab at his leg, and he managed to shake it away. Another hand came up. He clubbed it down with his empty rifle, and he was free. He was out of the ring of faces and arrows, flying along with the mare. He looked back. He had seen no horses, but he knew the Indians wouldn't be too far from the mountains. It was nearly 2 miles to camp. 2 long miles. His horses were fed, and with any kind of a lead, he would probably beat them. He studied the ground ahead. It was smooth, grassy, ideal for running. He looked back again and saw the 2 Indians were mounted and started after him. He watched. 3 others burst out of a stand of willows near where they jumped Francis. It would be a chase. Francis studied his lead. 100 yards, no more. And he was holding an empty rifle. I have to beat them, he thought. He had a good mount in his Indian pony, but the crows were also riding Indian ponies. It stood to reason that of 5 ponies, at least one would be as fast, if not faster, than his. He couldn't expect miracles all the time. Sure enough, one of the ponies was as fast as his little mare, but 2 others were faster, and they gained rapidly. Before he'd cover a half a mile, they had cut his 100-yard lead in half. Francis leaned forward. Run! If I ever need speed, I need it now. He was full out already. She put her ears back and stretched an inch or 2, but it didn't help much. Another half mile, he thought, watching the 2 Indians gaining on him, and they'll be alongside of me. That is what?
Just jump over the cliff.
Oh, you think that's a good idea? What's on the other side of the cliff?
Yeah.
We'll have to see what he does. Let's keep reading. 40 yards now, and one of the Indians raised his bow and loosened an arrow. We are on page 131 now. Yeah, right? It says Francis. Alright guys, Francis looking back saw the arrow rise in a slow arc and fall toward him. He felt his stomach tighten as his eyes followed its course. It fell short by 10 yards or so. The Indian fitted another arrow to the bow and aimed. He's getting the range, Francis thought. Only 30 yards separated them now. Francis nudged his pony just as the Indian shot his second arrow. The mare veered to the left, still at a dead run. And the arrow missed. 20 yards now, they can't miss again, he thought. Not at this short range. Only 15 yards, and now 2 Indians raised their bows. No, Francis cried out, you can't. Then he heard it, far off, a noise like the sound of a muted thunder. A second later, he heard something whisper over his head from the pastry, and the lead Indian fell from his horse. The second Indian veered aside, releasing his arrow at the same time, but missing Francis. The Hawkins, the great Hawkins of Jason Grimes, had done it again. Francis eased up a bit and looked for the mountain men. It was still almost a quarter of a mile to camp, an impossible range, an impossible shot. Now Francis saw him, a speck that was leaning against a tree by the camp. At this range, it was impossible to tell what the mountain man was doing, but the moment Francis knew, a cloud of smoke jumped out in front of him, and the sound of a shot followed. Francis whirled to watch the Indians. One of the ponies somersaulted, throwing his rider heavily. That still left 3, and those 3 stopped, dismounted, and hid behind the available cover. Francis dropped down to a canter. It was safe now. It wasn't but a few moments before he was dismounting at the camp. Mr. Grimes was smiling. I do declare, Mr. Tuckett, you sure picked some mighty funny people to be horse racing with. If you were all that hard up for something to do, I might have raced you myself. You didn't have to go find a bunch of crows. Do you think he's being sarcastic?
Yeah.
Trying to make it funny. Well, you know how it is, Francis answered, returning the smile, though he was shaking inside and felt a little sick to his stomach. I was getting pretty bored, just sitting around all the time. That fellow needs some action now and then. Used to be that way myself before I lost my arm. Still, I wish you'd come and ask me before you do those things. He pointed at the Indians in the field. One of them had mounted and was heading away at a run. The mountain man shrugged. No sense doing any more fancy shooting. One of them would be bound to get away. Where is he going, Francis asked. For help, Mr. Tuckett, and I expect not too far. The way he's riding. Well, you said you wanted something to do, some action. Unless I miss my guess, before long you were going to use all the action you ever wanted. Unless what? Unless we run, Mr. Tuckett, and stay ahead. But we can't run, Francis said. There are 2 of them left watching us. They know right where we went. I swear, Mr. Tuckett, you're getting smarter every day. So it appears that what we've got to do is get rid of those 2 Indians in the field. We? Sure. Were you figuring on doing it all by yourself? Francis looked out across the meadows. 2 ponies stood grazing almost a mile away. But the Indians weren't in sight. They could be anywhere, everywhere. How do we do it? Simple, Mr. Tuckett. We just walk out there until they shoot at us. Then we shoot back. Francis suddenly remembered that his rifle was empty. He reloaded it quickly. All right, Mr. Tuckett, let's go. We don't have all day. The mountain man started walking out across the meadow, his rifle draped casually across his shoulder. He looked for all the world as though he were just going for a morning stroll, or perhaps to hunt rabbits. Except these rabbits, Francis thought, hurrying to catch up, aren't like normal rabbits. These rabbits shoot back. Right? That's a good chapter.
I think it's a figure of speech.
It is. Figure of speech? Good. Good thinking, Sierra. All right, let's start chapter 18. Okay?
It's a read?
Yes?
Really?
We got 10 minutes left.
I don't think we can read.
All right, Francis would never forget that morning walk. He was afraid as they walked closer to where he had thought the 2 Indians were. He became more and more afraid.